Memorizing scripture is a valuable practice that can greatly impact our attitudes and behaviors. President Boyd K. Packer said, "True doctrine, understood, changes attitudes and behavior. The study of the doctrines of the gospel will improve behavior quicker than a study of behavior will improve behavior." And what better way to keep doctrine close to us than by having 100 different scripture passages covering a wide range of doctrines memorized and ready to recall at a moment's notice? To achieve this goal, I have created a program to help me memorize these scriptures, tackling the common challenges we face when trying to memorize them, feeling overwhelmed by the sheer amount of verses, losing motivation, and quitting. My system aims to be simple, easy to start, continue, and most importantly, keep you motivated. In order to make the task of memorizing scripture more manageable and motivational, I developed a two-part system. The first part consists of a series of videos that utilize audio and visual memorization techniques to help quickly ingrain the words of a particular passage into your memory. The second part involves using Anki, a free and open source flashcard program that employs the concept of spaced repetition to make the memorization process more effective. While it may not be a perfect solution, I hope that this system will provide value and inspiration for your own personal scripture study. The verses I used came from this scripture mastery page on the church's website. This link is included in the description. Let's get started. To download Anki, you head over to this link, which I also provided in the description. Anki is available for the following platforms. After you've installed Anki and launched it, a window something like this will show up. Mine might look a little different because I have various add-ons installed. First, you will name your profile, and then it will ask you to make an account with Anki. This is free and enables you to sync your progress across any platform and any device which you have Anki installed on, as well as the web app. After you've opened it, we're going to need to install a shared deck. This is the Scripture Mastery deck that goes along with the videos. After it's been downloaded, open it up in Anki. Before I go over how the process works, please follow along as I adjust some settings. Head up to the top where it says Tools, then to Preferences, Scheduling, and right here where it says Mix New Cards and Reviews, you're going to change that to Show New Cards After Reviews, and then close. Next, head over to this little Settings icon and Options. Hit this little down tab and push Add Preset. You can name it whatever you want. For new cards a day, you're going to want to put 1. And for the learning steps, 1 day, and 2 days, with a graduating interval of 3. For relearning steps, you're going to want to put 1 day, 2 days, and 3 days, with a minimum interval of 3. For new interval, you're going to want to put 0.50. You can now hit save, and we'll go over the process. Spaced repetition is a learning technique that involves revisiting material at increasing intervals to improve long-term retention and recall while decreasing effort spent. As you might have noticed, there are 516 cards in this deck, as opposed to 100 Scripture Mastery passages. This is because I have chosen to individually memorize each verse within all the Scripture Mastery passages, some of which include multiple verses. The 100 Scripture Mastery sections end up being 258 verses total. For each verse, I have 2 cards, one with the link to the corresponding video and the other without the link. If you find that 516 cards or doubling up on each verse is not challenging enough, I suggest that you either suspend or delete the cards that you feel are redundant. For the first kind of card, the one with the link to the video, all that is required is to watch the video. Heads up to headphone users, this might be loud.
And it came to pass that I, Nephi, said unto my father, commanded.
It is recommended that you follow along with the video, attempting to follow along and fill in the blanks. After you have completed the video, attempt to say the verse to yourself one more time. If you are unable to correctly follow along, fill in the blanks, or are unable to say the verse to yourself after the video has been completed, press again on Anki. You will now go through the same process tomorrow. Don't fret. It is normal to not be successful on the first couple of tries. With daily practice, you will soon progress. If you are successful, press good. You will go through the same process tomorrow as well. This is because of the learning steps. If you press good once, it will be due the next day. If you press it again, and it will be due the day after that. 3 times, and it will be due 2 days after that. After 3 times pressing good, you graduate the card and are no longer in the learning process. At the bottom of a card, there are 3 numbers. The first is new cards. The second is cards that you are learning. And the third are graduated cards. To achieve a balance that will not overwhelm, I recommend only tackling a new card on days that you have no cards that you are learning. So I suggest never doing a new card until you have 0 right here. This is why we originally set up Anki to only show new cards after our review cards. After you have successfully completed a card linked to a video, the next card will be the exact same, minus that there will be no link. Your goal for this card is to attempt to recite the previously learned passage aloud or in your head without the use of the video. If you are unsuccessful in your attempt, once again, do not fret. With daily practice, you will soon progress. One potential pitfall to avoid is the tendency to misrepresent the difficulty level of a card by rating it as easier or harder than it actually was. To overcome this, I recommend using the add-on called Pass to Fail. Remove the easy and hard buttons, which eliminates these options altogether. You can download this add-on by clicking on the link in the description. If you are new to Anki or spaced repetition, I encourage you to explore and discover your own unique ways to utilize this powerful tool to enhance your personal, academic, and professional endeavors. As with any new endeavor, there may be technical difficulties along the way, but don't let that discourage you. There are countless resources available online, from YouTube tutorials to Reddit guides, to help you overcome any issues with Anki. In fact, one of the most important skills you can develop in this technological age is the ability to effectively search and filter through all the information available to us. To develop this skill, it's important to practice it and learn to figure things out on your own. Another potential challenge is feeling overwhelmed by the number of cards. If this happens, don't rush to progress. Remember, the goal is not to rush through the process, but to internalize the scriptures in a meaningful and lasting way. Another common challenge you may encounter is remembering which words go with which verse. To address this, consider coming up with your own personalized system for memorization, such as creating mnemonics or other memory aids. The great thing about Anki is that you have the ability to customize your cards and notes in whatever way you find most effective. So don't be afraid to experiment and make the deck your own. While it may only take a few minutes a day, It's important to keep in mind that the process of memorizing scripture can take a long time, potentially even years, depending on factors like motivation levels and how you personalize your study pattern with this deck. The key is to bring doctrine into our lives, as President Packer encouraged us to do. Let's not get discouraged by the time it may take to complete the deck, but instead focus on the value and meaning that memorizing scripture can bring to our lives. This is why I started with passages from the Book of Mormon, because even if it's the only scripture study that you do during a day, you will still be immersed in the Book of Mormon on a daily basis. This consistent exposure can bring about profound blessings in our lives and deepen our connection to the gospel. In conclusion, memorizing scripture can have a profound impact on our lives. It can change our attitudes and behaviors and deepen our connection to the gospel. With the two-part system I've developed, utilizing videos and Anki, memorizing scriptures can be made simpler, more effective, and more motivational. Remember to take your time, personalize your approach, and don't be discouraged by any challenges you may face. With daily practice and commitment, you can achieve your goal of having 100 different scripture passages memorized and ready to recall at a moment's notice. So let us all strive to fill our hearts and minds with the precious words of God, and in doing so become closer to Him and live our lives in a more meaningful and purposeful way. Thank you for watching, and may God bless you.